Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May Brahman protect us both, the teacher and the disciple. May he nourish us both. May we both work together with great energy. May our studies be vigorous and fruitful. May we not hate or criticize each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. It's so nice to have you all back here in the hall. Last month, actually a few weeks ago, we discussed about preparing for meditation. Today, we'll go further in that same line, obstacles to meditation. After starting on the spiritual path, the seeker soon finds that it is full of obstacles. We read in the books about the peace and contentment that comes as a result of meditation. And so to attain that, the person may undertake long periods of meditation in the beginning straight away. But after doing it for a few days, you find that instead of the joy and bliss experienced by the saints and saints that we read about, actually we are faced with difficulties and suffering actually. After a few days, the person finds that they cannot keep up with that long periods of meditation. The body and the mind reacts violently. Now, what are these reactions and why they happen? Let's look at them. The body and mind revolt against the effort to control them. At present, or till we started on the path of meditation, the body and mind was doing whatever it wanted. There was no control. Now suddenly you say, no, you can't do this. You have to stay here on this point of where I want you to stay, remain. The body reacts, revolts, the mind revolts. The body's reactions are aches and pains and bringing in excuses. I can't sit, my legs are aching. Now my back is aching. All sorts of pains come up at that time. And the mind, the nerves become high strung, and the mind also revolts. Old memories, past memories all come up and disturb the mind. They become stronger and stronger and try to find expression even in our outer day-to-day life. The meditation is like churning the mind. All the impressions which are deep down in the mind come up from the subconscious level and they create havoc in the mind. Thus, the sincere spiritual seeker soon finds that the life of meditation is not a bed of roses as he or she had imagined. It's full of troubles, difficulties, even suffering. But it's not an issue for a person who just meditates for a few minutes a day, because the meditation is not deep enough to bring up all the deep impressions from subconscious mind. So there's no problem for them. But those who sincerely meditate for long hours are faced with much problems and difficulties. One has to face various types of struggles. And we can say it's a long warfare. It's a mental warfare. Fight with our own mind. And most of these obstacles are created by ourselves, by our wrong attitudes and actions. The teachers of Vedanta give us a list of obstacles that we face when we start sincerely on our spiritual path. Vedanta Sara, a well-known book on Advaita Vedanta by Sadananda Yogindra lists 4 obstacles while trying to meditate. The first one is laya, sleep. The second is viksheva, distraction. Then kashaya, reluctance to meditate. And rasaswada, getting stuck in intermediate joyful experience. Let's look at them one by one. Laya, sleep. While trying to meditate, the person falls asleep. Meditation needs intense concentration, and the mind is not used to concentrate, so the mind falls asleep. And the concentration can happen only when the mind is under control. And because it was not used to being controlled, it falls asleep when we are trying to concentrate. Most people are faced by this obstacle, falling asleep. Often people think that, especially in the beginning, if somebody thinks that they have got good meditation for 2-3 hours, well, we just listen. Yes. Oh, we had a good meditation. I had good meditation for 3 hours. I didn't know how the time went. Oh, yes. I just listened. Yes. Very good sleep. But because meditation is not so easy, and in the beginning, the mind falls asleep. We don't realize it. The mind is overtaken by tamas. Or it can be due to body tiredness. Then it's understandable. You need good rest. If the body is tired, you cannot concentrate. Body needs rest. So they say, when you are really tired, don't try to meditate. Try to meditate after rest. So morning is the best time, because at night you had rest and sleep. Then morning meditation you can mostly do without falling asleep. Or if you want to do in the evening after a long day's work, take a short rest or a short sleep nap for a few minutes, and then sit and meditate. Otherwise, the mind falls asleep. An ordinary person and an adult needs on average 7 to 8 hours of sleep. That's more than enough. If you oversleep, then also the body becomes tired, lethargic, and again, the person may fall asleep. So it's one of the preliminary obstacles that we face when we start meditating, laya. Second one is viksheva, wandering of the mind. The mind is restless. Mind doesn't want to sit in one place, it goes away. Now, this wandering of the mind can be controlled by 2 means. We can either use our willpower. No, you sit here. I am the master. You tell our mind, I am the master, so you have to listen to me. You will sit here, not go here and there. I want you to sit at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, or concentrate on the self. No, you are not going anywhere else. Tell our mind using strong willpower. Otherwise, another method they give, that the great teachers ask us to do, is let the mind wander. Observe the mind. Keep on watching. Where is it going? To what ideas, thoughts the mind is going. Keep on watching. And when the mind realizes that it is being watched, who is watching? Part of the mind. Part of the mind is wandering. Part of the mind is watching that wandering. And when the mind finds that it's being watched constantly, then it stops wandering and becomes calm. Sri Ramakrishna gives an example for that. A thief is out on the street looking for a house to get in and steal some things. But a policeman has seen the thief. He knows this person is a thief and goes behind him, watching him. The thief tries to shake him off, but can't. So what to do? After some time, walking, now can't shake the policeman off. It's useless. So the thief goes back home. Instead of wandering, the mind is like that. If we keep on watching the mind, then the mind will settle down. The next one, the third obstacle, These two, the first two, Laya and Viksha, that is sleeping, falling asleep, and wandering, are the obstacles faced mostly by all of us in the beginning. The next one is Kashaya, reluctance to practice meditation. When this happens, meditation seems very dry and tasteless. Don't feel like meditating. You are sitting there to meditate, but you don't feel like meditating at all. They say it's caused by the past samskaras, the latent impressions that come up from the deep our mind. Whatever thoughts that come to our mind, whatever impressions that we collect, they are all kept as in the seed form in the subconscious mind. Nothing is lost. Not a single thought that we have thought, either good thought or bad thought. They're all there. And all the impressions that we collect through all the five senses, they are all there in our mind or in the subconscious level. Nothing is lost. And they bring as obstacle and make the meditation dry and tasteless. We don't feel like meditating. The mind is not sleepy. The mind is not wandering, but you don't want to meditate. There's no taste for meditation. And the teachers, the great teachers ask us, don't give up. Don't get up from your seat. You're sitting there to meditate, don't get up from the seat, but listen. Some methods they give how to overcome that. Listen to some devotional music, devotional, or sing some devotional song, or read some inspiring religious books. Say the lives of some inspiring in the saint or sage, and think about it for some time. And as soon as the period of the dryness is removed from the mind, start meditating again. And then comes the last one, rasaswada, getting stuck in an intermediate, joyful spiritual experience. That comes after the person has progressed for a certain extent, but hasn't reached the goal. Had some sort of experience, say, had had a vision of the chosen deity or some form of god or goddess, or seen light, or hearing some spiritual music, heavenly music, some sort of experience like that. And we enjoy that. Enjoy that so much that you don't go to meditation. That means you are stuck in that particular state. No, go forward. This is also an obstacle, because this is not the ultimate goal. We feel that, oh, we have reached the goal. No, we haven't. This is just a stage showing that you are on the right path. So these are all obstacles mentioned by Sadananda Yogindra in the Vedanta Sara. Sri Ramakrishna says there are higher and higher levels of experiences, spiritual experience. Seeing visions of God or hearing divine music, that's not the ultimate goal. There are further and further experiences are there. Sri Ramakrishna says, go forward, go forward. He gives a story for that. A woodcutter used to go to the forest to cut woods. One day he saw a holy man, and the holy man told him, go forward. The woodcutter didn't do anything. That day he cut the wood and came back. That is his livelihood. Bring the wood back to the market, sell it, and earn money. That's his livelihood. But after a few days, he thought, the holy man told me to go forward. Let me go forward and see. So he went forward in the forest, and he found an area full of sandalwood trees. Now, sandalwood is much expensive, costly than the ordinary wood. So he cut a few trees and got lot more money. And after a few days again, he thought, the holy man did ask me to stop at sandalwood trees, forest. He asked me to go forward. Let me go forward. And he came upon a copper mine. Then again he went forward, a silver mine, and then a gold mine, then a mine full of diamonds and other precious stones. And he became very, very rich. So Sri Ramakrishna said there are so many experiences are there. You go forward, don't stop. That is why Swamiji says, stop not till the goal is reached. The goal is far away. These are all spiritual experiences, preliminary spiritual experiences. They are all signposts that you are on the right path. That's all. Patanjali in the Yoga Sutra speaks about 9 obstacles to meditation. The first one is disease, vyadhi. The body and the mind are closely related. When the body suffers, the mind suffers. If the body is sick, the mind suffers actually accordingly. And according to the yogis, disease is caused by imbalance in the flow of prana or vital energy. And when the body has got some illness, the mind is disturbed and you can't meditate. Just a little bit of headache is enough to stop us from meditation. I got a headache, I can't meditate. I got a toothache, I can't meditate. We have got all this thing. We say, others may say it's an excuse, but for the person it is such a big thing because that's an obstacle. Only highly advanced souls like Sri Ramakrishna may be able to say, let the body know the disease. Oh, my mind, you think of God. Ordinary people, it's not possible. Swami Turiyananda was able to say. Swami Turiyananda, one of the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, we see when he had to have an operation, he said he refused to have chloroform. In those days it was chloroform. He refused to take chloroform. He said, just give me a few minutes when the doctor was ready to operate. And then he just withdrew his mind. Then the doctor operated as though it is somebody else's body. Another time, because the doctor didn't have to give chloroform, another time he came and without giving warning, he put the knife and the Swami screamed. Then the doctor said, but Swamiji, last time you didn't have to react at all. Well, Swami said, you gave me warning, I could withdraw my mind. At present, you didn't give me warning, so the mind is attached to the body. Only highly advanced souls can say that. But for ordinary people, when the body is sick, the mind is disturbed. So through constant practice, we may be able to develop strong willpower and to a certain extent go back to meditation, but it's very hard. So the best things, if the body is sick, get treated. The second obstacle that Patanjali mentions is dhyana, that is lack of interest. It is similar to the third one that we spoke of in the last list, reluctance to practice meditation is similar to that. This is also here, the lack of interest. It's also due to dominance of tamas and also can be overcome to a certain extent by strong willpower. And this lack of interest is caused by the presence of conflict in the deeper levels of our mind or due to the lack of discernment. And when we feel this lack of interest in meditate, it's good to remember that our life is getting shorter and shorter by minute. So if you go on postponing meditation, perhaps you may not get much time. You have to remember that. It's good to remind ourselves about that. Then these two, the first in illness and lack of interest, are mainly on the physical level. Then the next 4 comes on the mental level. Number 3 is doubt, samshaya. Doubt about the efficacy of meditation, the methods that you are adopting for the meditation, or you may even have doubt about the goal. is the worthiness of the, is it worthy of striving so much? You may have all this. Am I doing the right method? Will I be able to attain the goal of these strivings? All these doubts can arise. And doubt also comes from the absence of faith in the eternal truths of religion. Actually, doubt is a terrible disease of the mind. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, Samshayatma vinasyati. The doubting soul goes to doom, perishes. And again he says, Nayam lokosti na paro na sukham samshayatmana. For the doubting soul is neither this world nor the hereafter nor any happiness. So doubt is very, very strong disease actually. And doubts may linger even after long practices, until you get some genuine spiritual experiences. Doubts will linger. And that takes many, many years of practice. So there's a great need for Shraddha or faith, unshakable faith, in the words of our spiritual teacher, the faith in oneself and the methods that we are adopting. Faith that why so many people have attained following this method, so I also will be able to, and I will attain the goal. That faith we should be there. I have. Next one is pramada. It's delusion or carelessness. Because of carelessness, we get involved in many harmful worldly activities, forgetting the benefits of meditation. And most of these impurities that accumulate in our mind are due to carelessness. We have to be careful. We have to be careful in regularity of meditation and also our habits. In order to progress in the spiritual path, we have to be careful about the important things of life as well as unimportant things of life. Some of the things you may think, oh, that's so unimportant. It's not. It's a harmless thing. Those harmless things accumulate and become really harmful things. So we have to be careful about every habit and action. That's why alertness is very important. The next one is alasya, lethargy or laziness. It's a bad mental habit. We get it that by giving into the love of comfort and also avoiding any exertion. The mind slowly becomes turned towards laziness. Don't want to exert. Even not physical exertion, even mental exertion. No, don't want to do that. And it manifests as physical and mental lethargy, or it can also be caused by this alasya. Lethargy can be caused by too much of food. If you have eaten too much, have a heavy meal, you won't be able to meditate. You will feel alasya. Or too much of sleep, or if you are too tired, that also can cause this. And we can shake it off through determined and sustained effort, constant effort. Then comes avirati, clinging to sense enjoyments. May have given up or distance oneself from sense enjoyments, but the mind is still attached to it. So the mind has to we have to tell our mind repeatedly the defects of those sense enjoyments. Otherwise, it will remain attached to the sense enjoyment. Physically, you are not doing, physically you are moving away from sense pleasures, but the mind is still attached to it. So Gita says, he who restrains the organs of action, but brood over the sense enjoyments, is a hypocrite. Not doing and physically not doing or enjoying the pleasures, undergoing that, but mentally you're thinking about it. You are actually where you are, where your mind is, your thoughts are. So you're enjoying, but outwardly you are not doing. So Krishna calls them hypocrite. And again he says, by giving up, the sense objects may fall away from the person, but not the taste. That is actually aviradhi, clinging to sense enjoyments. That will go away only when the supreme truth is realized. So we have to tell our mind repeatedly the defects of sense enjoyment and slowly draw the mind away from sense pleasures. That these are the four, they are mental ones. Now, the number 7, it's actually intellectual. But Bhranti Darsana, erroneous conception, false ideas, have some spiritual experience and think that's a final experience or great experience. Taking something for what it is not. It is generally happens due to lack of discrimination or proper reasoning. Say, you had some hallucination or imagination and take it as spiritual experience. But real spiritual experience changes our character. So if you think that you had some spiritual experience, but your character hasn't changed at all, then you are stuck in this stage of Bhranti Darsana, erroneous conception, because you are taking something which is to be true, which is not. That is why when Sri Ramakrishna spoke about his samadhi, Narendra said, oh, that's all a hallucination. And because Sri Ramakrishna had such faith in Narendra, he went and asked Divine Mother. Then Divine Mother consoled him, no. Your realized visions are true because they tally with the scriptures. He will accept it later. But it can happen. Some hallucination you may, if you are not properly guided by a teacher, you can take it as your real spiritual experience. And this happens because we try to deceive ourselves. We want to have such experience. So imagination, you imagine, and there you got a spiritual experience. And some people may describe their spiritual experience, and we hear, we read. So I also would like to have some spiritual experience. And you imagine and imagine, like a auto-suggestion. And you think that you are having that experience. That is a great obstacle. So we have to be truthful about our spiritual life, a meditative life. And don't get confused about what is beneficial and what is harmful habits or practices. Then the last two, the obstacles that Patanjali describes, number 8 and 9, they're actually on the spiritual level. It comes to people who are quite advanced on the meditative path. So that is the number 8 is alabdha bhumigatva, non-attainment of any level of concentration. You have been trying, but the mind is not able to concentrate, keep up the concentration. You have the concentration for a very short time, but then mind slips back. The only way out of it is practice. Continue practice. And the next one is anavastishtatva, inability to retain the level of concentration once attained. You have reached a level of concentration, but you are not able to keep that up. You slip back from that level. Again, the mind goes back. These two are faced by an aspirant who has advanced quite a bit, but haven't reached there. The only way is practice, practice, practice. With great perseverance and patience, go on practicing. There is no other way to overcome this. So perseverance is very important here. Patanjali mentions 5 more subtle obstacles other than these 9 ones. He calls them kleshas or pain-bearing obstructions. The first one is avidya, ignorance. Ignorance of one's divine nature. The Vedantic idea is divinity is present everywhere, in everything, in everywhere, equally present, but not equally manifested. That is why there is difference between things, animate, inanimate, difference in animate object, animate things, plants, animals, human beings. The difference is just the difference in the manifestation of the divinity. And it is ignorance that prevents this manifestation. Instead of seeing the pure, ever-present, ever-blissful, all-conscious self, we look upon ourselves as limited physical beings. So ignorance is taking the non-self for the self. Because the non-self, the physical organism, that's not the self. Senses are not the self, but we take it like that. I identify ourselves as that. And this ignorance is the cause of the other 4 obstacles that Patanjali describes, namely egoism, attachment, aversion, and clinging to life. Egoism, asmita. It is through egoism that we identify the self with the other parts, chitta, the mind stuff, buddhi, the determinative faculty, the mind, manas, the mind, and also the sense organs. So we identify and we say, I thought, I saw, I am happy. All this identifying the self and the non-self is due to asmita. Only true knowledge of the divine self can overcome this egoism or asmita. The next one is raga or attachment, is clinging to whatever is pleasing. So Swami Vivekananda says, wherever we find pleasure, there we are attached. And dvesha, aversion is just the opposite, where you move away from painful things. So these two go together. Where there is pleasure, we are attached, and where there is pain, we move away. And again, because these two go together, we can see that attachment leads to aversion, and aversion leads to attachment. Say, a child loves chocolate. The first bar of chocolate, the child enjoys. Second bar also enjoys. But you keep feeding the child the whole day with chocolate. Towards half day, you can see child is disgusted with chocolate, and in the end, hates it. So attachment leads to aversion. Opposite way, aversion leads to attachment. You don't like painful experiences, so try to avoid that, and avoiding that seeks pleasurable experiences. So aversion leads to attachment. They go together. The last one is abhinivesha, clinging to life. A strong desire to continue living for a long time. That is for all living beings. Plants, animals, humans, everybody has got this, at clinging to life. Nobody wants to die. But death is inevitable. Can anybody avoid death? Whether it is plant, animal, or human, death is inevitable. That's why Sri Krishna says, Jadasi dhruva mrityu. If you are born, you are sure to die. But we don't want to die. We are clinging to life. This clinging is a great obstacle. And Swamiji says, the recurring experiences of various fears in course of time produce this clinging to life. These are all obstacles. So we had to tell ourselves, death is inevitable. We don't know when it's going to come. Actually, the moment we are born, we have stepped into the mouth of death. We don't know when the mouth will close. We have put our foot in the mouth of death. And when the mouth will close, we are caught, we don't know. So when we have got time, try to meditate and go forward. Sankhya Karika of Ishvara Krishna lists 100 obstacles to meditation, which are broadly classified into 3 groups. The first one is viparya, or false knowledge. That is of 5 types. That again, what just now we mentioned, the 5 obstacles, subtle obstacles that Patanjali mentioned, the same. Ignorance, egoism, attraction and aversion, and clinging to life. The second one is ashakti, incapacity. Our body and mind has got a lot of incapacities, natural incapacities of various types. We should be aware of the weaknesses and shortcomings of our body and mind. Be conscious of it. But there is no need to brood over it or despair. To attain real spiritual experience and to retain it, we need spiritual power. So that great teachers ask us to pray to God for strength. God is the storehouse of all strength and power. So we pray to God to give us strength so that we can overcome our weaknesses. The next one that the Sankhya Karika lists is tushti, satisfaction. The satisfaction does not mean the ordinary sense pleasures or sense satisfaction, but subtle delights which prevents the seeker from going forward towards the goal. Sankhya Karika lists several kinds of satisfaction. One is the satisfaction produced by early spiritual progress or some minor spiritual experience, similar to the last one that we spoke of in the first list, Tesaswada, getting stuck. But you're satisfied. In the beginning, we practice with great interest, enthusiasm, struggling a lot, maybe practicing for a few years, and get certain degree of purity of mind, peace, calmness, and may even have some spiritual experiences. And then the person may think, oh, well, I have gained something great. There is nothing more for me to do. And then gradually the enthusiasm for meditation lessens. That is satisfaction, but that is an obstacle. Another satisfaction may happen just from the outer changes in the outer life. Many seekers are caught by this one, like putting on a mala beads around your neck, showing off to everybody, I'm a great meditator, doing a lot of spiritual practices. As Sri Ramakrishna used to joke about Hasara. Hasara sits in front of Sri Ramakrishna's room, in front of on the veranda in front, and do a lot of japa. So people think that he's a holy man, because he's doing so much of japa, he's showing off. Or you may put on walk a robe like this, satisfied. Oh, I have attained everything. I have that finished. That's enough. I have satisfied with that. Or they can have a beautiful shrine, set up a beautiful shrine, and think, oh, well, I have done a lot of spiritual practices. What have you done? You have done anything. You set up a shrine. Or you can collect a lot of spiritual books, a library of spiritual books. All this is there. Having a books, whether you have read it or not, even if you are read, have you practiced them, the teachings that given in that? Otherwise, you are no better than a donkey carrying a bag of sugar. No taste, no don't know. Or carrying a library. Doesn't get any information. We have all these, many aspirants are caught up with this satisfaction. They think that they have attained. One of the devotees who come to Sri Ramakrishna is called Mahimacharya. He liked to show off. And he often used to speak about his great library, big library that he has got. I have got this book, that book. One day, Narendra and some of the other young disciples went to his house and they wanted to see the library. And they took a book and saw that many of the pages they're still stuck. They're not even cut. So then first they asked, have you read all these books? Such a big library? Oh, yes, I have studied all those books. Then Narendra took this book but this book, the pages are not even cut. Oh, see, some friends borrow a book from me, they don't give it back, so I had to buy again. And they found that most of the books are like that. So he has collected a lot of books, haven't even read them, not to speak of practicing, but he thinks that he has advanced in spiritual life. This happens to many people. Or you may get satisfaction from having false faith in the time, kala, or fate, bhagya. They say things happen in time. When it is time, it will happen. Oh yes, and spiritual practices, spiritual progress takes time. So it will happen in time. Let it happen in time. So don't do anything. It's just escapism. Or we can say, oh, it happens only with God's grace. So let me wait for God's grace. You wait for God's grace, nothing is going to happen unless you put in effort. First, you had to become grace-worthy. So we had to put in effort. Sitting, simply waiting for the time to happen or a destiny to give in spiritual realization, nothing is going to happen. This is all obstacles. Then there is another satisfaction which comes from giving up action. Actions, all the work is cause bondage. So I have given up all work and I've taken up to life of austerity, spiritual practices alone. It's premature. Giving with a false idea that giving up all actions is giving to ultimate goal, lead you to ultimate goal. No. Sri Krishna says actually the true renunciation is renunciation of attachment. It's not giving up of work. So that is why premature renunciation of work gives false satisfaction. And they think that there is nothing more to attain, to work towards to. They have reached the goal. Sri Ramakrishna says, as one advances in the spiritual path, duties fall off by themselves. You don't have to give up forcibly. As you advance in spiritual path, they fall off by themselves. As the example he gives is, as the fruit ripens, the flower falls off. You don't have to pick it off. It falls off. These are all lower satisfactions which prevent one from striving for the highest goal. Shankaracharya in the Aparokshanubhuti, his work on the Advaita Vedanta also gives a list of obstacles. If you see the list, they're almost the same that we have mentioned earlier. Lack of inquiry, idleness, desire for sense pleasures, sleep, dullness, distraction, tasting of joy, and sense of blankness. That is, the mind is torpid, resulting from conflict of desires. So, we see that almost all the teachers list almost the similar, I think, as obstacles. So how important this is. All these obstacles, we have to be aware of them. We have to watch out for them. And another one can happen is after having some kind of experience. See, you are sincere in your practices. You do practice for some time. You have some sort of experience, initial experience. Now you want to have that experience again. Try to have it again and again. And they say, this insisting on having an experience or trying to have it experience again, or deliberately trying to have it again, is also an obstacle. Instead of concentrating on for your meditation, your process of meditation, you are concentrating on that particular experience that is almost getting stuck in that stage. So don't insist on having that experience again. You enjoyed it. You got great pleasure in that experience, but don't insist on having that or try to gain that experience again. You just go forward. Another pitfall is evaluating our spiritual experience and comparing it with others or sharing it with others. We cannot people have got the tendency to evaluate our spiritual experience and also compare it with others' experience or discuss with others. It actually gives spiritual pride. You're getting personal pride as though I have acquired something great, which is an obstacle. The best attitude is not try to evaluate. Don't try to compare your spiritual experience with others. Simply live the spiritual life. Just go on doing your spiritual practices. They said you should not even speak about it others, other than your spiritual guide, spiritual teacher. Not because it is secret, but because it is too sacred. If you speak about your spiritual experiences, you lose the intensity. So don't speak about your spiritual experience. You may have had some spiritual experiences. Keep it with you, or you can share it with your spiritual guide. Only when you have reached the highest spiritual realization can we share the joys of spiritual realization with others. Till then, we just keep it with ourselves and continue on the path. Many of these obstacles are created by our careless way of living. We say we want to practice spiritual disciplines, meditation, and at the same time, indulge in all the sense pleasures, overeating, overindulgence, eating, sleeping, other sense pleasures, gossiping, trying to solve the problems of the whole world. That's none of our business. Your business is go on your spiritual practices. These two cannot go together. They don't go together. Overindulgence in all this and life of meditation don't go together. Spiritual life needs well-regulated life and good habits. And another reason for these obstacles is lack of mental purity. We take up meditation, concentration, meditation, because we want to reach samadhi. That's our aim. Oh yes, we want to reach straight away to samadhi. So we straight away go up to dhyana and dharana. At the most, we may do a little bit of pranayama. But who cares for the first steps that Patanjali says about ethical life? Yama and niyama, it's too tedious, it's uninteresting. Speak the truth, don't steal, don't covet, follow strict chastity. These are all uninteresting, not good, not easy to practice. So I'll just skip all those things. Of course, I'll practice dhyana, dharana, and then I'll reach samadhi. If you can concentration, get a bit of concentration without the following the ethical life, there's no mental purity, and you will face with obstacles. That's sure. Swami Yadishananda insists on this again and again. He repeats this. Without mental purity, concentration is a great danger in spiritual life. And another cause for this obstacle is attempting too much. Most people don't have the inner strength to withstand the physical and mental strain of long meditation, long hours of meditation. That's why they say, go slowly. Increase your time of meditation gradually. Instead, we straight away want to reach the state of samadhi and practice long hours of meditation and add to that some pranayama and other austerities. And all this just by reading some books or listening to some lectures without the proper guidance of a teacher, you are sure to face obstacles on the path. So how are we to overcome these obstacles? First, we have to be honest with ourselves and take note of what are our strong points and weak points in our character, and pay extra attention to overcome the weak points. All the Vedantic teachers agree that ignorance is the root cause of all the obstacles. Now, if you try to remove all these obstacles that we listed, long list, Patanjali gives at least 9 and then another 5 subtle obstacles. So if you are trying to remove one by one, it takes long years and then it's a lot of energy. So why not go to the root cause? The root cause, if you remove that, all will be removed. The root cause is ignorance. And that can be removed only through meditation. Practice, even if you are met with obstacles, continue with the practice with persistent effort, years of struggle. And for that, to keep up the struggle, we need unshakable faith, Shraddha. Faith is absolutely necessary. It's not mere belief, but directing our will to the highest goal. Like Swamiji says, like the Shraddha that Nachiketa had, Nachiketa of Katha Upanishad. We have been dealing with studying Katha Upanishad every month. That faith we need towards reaching the ultimate goal. In the life of Buddha, we see, before Buddha attained illumination, he sat down with a firm determination. I won't move from here till I attain realization, ultimate goal. Even if my body is turned to skeleton, to ashes or to the elements, I won't move from here. That firm determination and the faith that I will achieve it, that faith should be there. Then, only then can we continue with that struggle and the meditation can go on. Along with these practices, surrendering to God and seeking His help is also great help. Pray to God for help. Please help me in overcome these obstacles. These are the obstacles that I am facing in my life of meditation. Please help me to overcome. Give me the strength to overcome them. Pray to God for help. And we have to remember that obstacles does not mean that our spiritual life has completely come to a stop. We are facing obstacles, but what's the guarantee that we are not progressing? Just because we are having some spiritual experiences or enjoying the meditation, that's not the only sign of progress. Swami Prabhavananda says, conscious or surface feelings, however exalted, are not the only indications of spiritual progress. We may be growing most strongly at a time when our mind seems dark and dull. The mind is dark. We think that we are not progressing at all. Maybe we are progressing. So we continue our spiritual practices and meditation with patience and perseverance. Holy Mother gives an example for that. Suppose you have bought the train ticket and got in the train. It's a night train. You got in the train and you go to sleep. You don't know whether you're progressing, going forward or not. You will know that only when you wake up in the morning. Then you see that you have traveled far. So we are started on the spiritual journey, on the life of meditation. Just continue with patience and perseverance. We will reach the goal. There can be no failure in spiritual life as long as you do not give it up and stop struggling. The failure is when we stop struggling. That's the only failure. Still, if we don't stop struggling, there is no failure. No. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, very nice to be back in Vedanta Hall at last. See many of you in person. We have the yoga classes recommencing this week. So that's on Thursday morning from 10 to 11:15 a.m. You're most welcome to attend that. That'll be weekly now, right through up to a couple of weeks before Christmas. This coming Friday, we have the fortnightly spiritual evening discussion. And because we're approaching the Kali Puja celebration, Diwali, we're going to, in a spiritual evening, we're going to focus on Kali, what she signifies. And interestingly, she has a lot of sisters, so to say, from around the world. There are similar Kali-like figures in other cultures going back to very ancient times. Next Sunday, we have the Kali Puja celebration, and we'll have talks by Balam Lakshmanam and Pravrajika Gayatriprana, and we're going to have our good friends here to give us some live music. There will be a Sarod recital by Tanim Hayat Khan Rajit, brilliant Sarod player, and so he will join us. And so on it goes. We'll have the final talk in the Katha Upanishad series the following Sunday, and you're already getting, I think most of you are on our MailChimp mail out, so you're already getting the November calendar. The Vedanta Book Club will be starting up again, and so on. And now we'll just conclude by listening to a guided meditation by revered Pravrajika Ajayprana Mataji. And by the way, on Mataji's birthday, which is the 8th of November, they are going to release the book of reminiscences, the reminiscences of some of us and many people in India and Mataji's sister nuns. The book's called The Guiding Light, and they are going to be broadcasting it live on YouTube. We are hoping to get a link that we can pass on to you. It will be Australian Eastern Standard Time. The function will be on Monday, the 8th of November from 3:30 to 5 p.m. And they've invited Gayatriprana and I, they're requesting us to give talks as part of the function. And of course, we'll look forward to getting the book. The book is quite a big one. How many pages, Gayatriprana? 550 pages. So there's a lot there. And we look forward to be, with this COVID-19, how long it will take us to get copies, I don't know. But anyway, we'll look forward to getting that soon. We have donation plate there, donation box up the back. And like I said, we'll now listen to a guided meditation by Pravrajika.
The rishis of Samaveda sing. Listen to the melodious music of the divine poet. He plays upon the flute of love. The notes soar to high heavens and reach the distant stars. They dance on the raging waves of the sea. The earth, the sea, the sky, the stars are all woven together by the soft strains of the divine music. Its vibrations echo through the corridors of time in the endless canopy of the sky. That same music is ringing through every part of our body. The divine light of cosmic intelligence, which is of golden radiance and sweet resonance, descends from its infinite abode to inspire us when we invoke its presence in our meditation. O Lord of divine light and silent peace, mayest thou accept the praises recited in silence by our hearts in the voiceless language of our yearning and love. Let us try to feel the stream of divine consciousness that is flowing gently and quietly, silently and smoothly through our veins. The light of supreme intelligence is shining in our intellect and illumining the pathway of our nerves and vital powers. The auspicious music accompanying the dance of the cosmic spheres is reverberating through our senses and organism in the celestial rhythmic flow. Awake, O sleeping beauty of my soul. The time of slumber and darkness is over. The storm and thunder of the night of ignorance and forgetfulness has passed away. The bright and glorious dawn of wisdom is appearing within the heart to lead us from triumph to triumph along the long illumined path of life. Let us tell ourselves, we have reached the safe harbor of our real source, the sweet shores of perpetual purity, the quiet land of undisturbed peace, which is our real home. We had strayed away long and far into the turbulent unrealities of ephemeral pleasures and the dark whirlpools of worldly attractions. Today, in these few moments of quietness, let us try to relax, collect ourselves, and feel the presence of our inner soul. Let us try to see the limitless ocean of the blue waters of the cosmic heart, pulsating within us. Look closely. It is there. The large, expansive stretches of the blue waters of the cosmic heart. We are a part and parcel of the cosmos. So the cosmic heart, the limitless expanse of the blue waters, are there within our heart. It is resplendent with a silver radiance. See the surface of the water? Shining with a silver radiance because of the presence of divinity inside, hidden inside the heart. Just that. We are not puny little human beings. We carry the infinite cosmic heart within us. The heart that is pulsating within us is in tune with the rhythm of the cosmic heart. Feel the expanse of infinity within and around us. Forget the limitations of the body. That is a transparent covering. We are within and without. The glittering, shining, resplendent waters of the cosmic heart are slowly pulsating, gently moving inside us and outside us. We are one with that. That is our real nature. These limitations of individuation, personalized form, our imagination. We are infinite. Just feel the flow of strength rushing through every part of the body, which can stand as a balance between the infinity inside and the infinity outside. We are revived and renewed with the tremendous energy of infinite divinity. Just let us try to feel ourselves light, not heavy, just floating in the infinite shining blue waters of cosmic dimensions. It's all still, peaceful, quiet, silent. God is silence, and in silence we can experience God. There is silence inside you. There is silence outside you. Feel the silence. Give up all limitations. We are infinite. Hari Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.